Hi, it's Tom with a quick look at Red Dead Redemption, this time the Undead Nightmare expansion. Xbox One X support of the standard game is by all measures a success, but that doesn't guarantee smooth sailing for this DLC. I mean, we are talking about 4K playback for the base game and a locked 30 FPS, something not possible on any other console. The main campaign also pushes that texture filtering quality up a few grades, but the most important part really is the move to 3840 by 2160. I booted up the Undead Nightmare segment more as a curiosity. After all, with the hordes of zombies and a more pervasive fog effect, there was a sense this pushed the original Xbox 360 harder overall. It's a prospect that threatens the Xbox One X performance as well. After all, the bid to hit 4K works out beautifully in the main game, and putting X's occasional frame pacing issues aside, nothing really stresses the engine. But Undead Nightmare is a different entity. Even if it's accessible by the same menu, the Rage engine is still iterated upon by Rockstar, re-engineered to suit a new style of play. It's the way Grand Theft Auto 4's DLC packs like The Lost and the Damned went too, where PS3 and Xbox 360 performance was further optimized for that DLC. We'll get onto the framerate tests in a second. The actual content of the expansion does bear mention though. Even with its horror twist, Undead Nightmare offers plenty of openings for incidental beauty. The way light shafts flicker through those darkened skies, the fact woodlands are filled with new zombified creatures, even how packs of hunters gallop set routes on a purge. It gives a sense the world runs to its own rhythm even when you're not there. As a way to reframe the original game with a new theme, Rockstar absolutely nailed it here. Xbox One X does all this justice with the same technical upheaval as before. You get a native 4K picture backed by 2x MSAA and boosted texture filtering on the visual front, though really not much else. Textures are still dependent on last gen assets, and shadows, while still respectable, depend on the same quality level and filtering cascade. Either way, you're looking at the best representation of Rockstar's classic possible on any hardware. Some rough edges persist, but they're forgivable given it's entirely free. The one downside is, due to Red Dead Redemption having backwards compatibility on Xbox One, there is an implication we won't see a true remaster as a result, but let's see what happens. Even through this emulation, a big benefit to running on Xbox One X is the bolstered frame rate. Undead Nightmare pushed the Xbox 360 very hard, and more constantly too, with cutscenes often triggering a hard lock to 20 FPS through the opening hours. It even suffered from a light screen tear right at the top, an adaptive VSync that largely goes unnoticed. In line with all enhanced games on Xbox One X though, the hardware's VSync kicks in to eliminate any trace of that, and every frame is rendered intact. The same goes for a base Xbox One of course, though the X goes further in the overall numbers. An upgrade over the hard lock to 20 FPS is a given on both Xbox One machines. Still, it's immensely satisfying to see Xbox One X barely drops a single frame in all these tests, where the base model buckles a little around the first town. With 30 FPS being the ceiling no matter what, there's barely a sign of what frame rates Xbox One X could push if we pulled that cap away. But it's enough to make a 33.3 millisecond render time per frame possible all the way through. Evidently, there's a more comfortable performance overhead on X then, despite a 9x increase in resolution over a regular Xbox One 720p. All of this despite the fog effect, the higher NPC count, and the more prominent alpha effects for blood splatter. Even the use of fire as a mechanic to permanently down zombies doesn't get in the way on X hardware. It's 4K without compromise. Impressive stuff, and seeing as Undead Nightmare may have been overlooked in the wake of the first game's release, this really offers a great chance to get a fix of Rockstar's earlier work before the sequel. With October penned as the release date for Red Dead Redemption 2, you may want to savour both parts of the package here. There's plenty of time. But it does make you wonder how Red Dead Redemption 2 might run. Looking at the only released footage so far for example, could we get 4K there too? Of course we can expect Pro and Xbox One X support right out of the gate. Even so, it's hard to simply expect a native 4K on Xbox One X, especially given the graphics technologies added to the Rage engine since the first game. It's been 8 years between the two, interjected by GTA 5 of course. From the first brace of trailers, clearly RDR2 benefits from its upgraded post-process effects like depth of field, massively pushed out level of detail settings for foliage, and what looks like a true materials-based lighting model. Even these trailers are littered with small details that would befit a higher resolution, but the chances are these boosts in settings overall could make 4K a challenge even on Xbox One X. Without a doubt, it'll be the biggest release of the year, and the likelihood is Xbox One X will get the lion's share of the benefits in either image quality or settings. Without any enhancements from Rockstar so far in GTA 5, it's difficult to measure what form the upgrades will take on Pro and X, compared to the base consoles. Whether that's an upgrade in LODs, or even a high-grade texture pack to make use of Xbox One X's larger pool of RAM, or simply seeing the same game running at a higher resolution. For all this, we'll just have to wait till October to find out. In the meantime, there's plenty to do and see in the first Red Dead Redemption, and with the other enhanced titles that arrived alongside it. Between Sonic Generations, Portal 2 and even Gears of War 2, the process of emulating older games may take work, a game-by-game approach to optimization, but the results we've seen so far are terrific. No matter how you look at it, it's a great way to honour the existing 360 library, even with just a boost to 4K, a majority hold up well today. Anyway, that's enough from me. With this latest wave of back-compat titles, I'd be interested to know what games you'd like to see in the Digital Foundry limelight. Give us a comment below either way if you have one in mind, but otherwise, feel free to like or subscribe if you got something out of this video. 4K being the focus here too, the source file to this is on our Patreon at digitalfoundry.net. But until next time, thanks for watching.